Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about healing and community and the sister wound that I feel like is so apparent within women because there's been a lot of growth and healing, even just with me, Brittany, and Natalia coming together. It's been so powerful and so beautiful, and we're all really seeing the power of being in community, being with other women, supporting each other, and really working through uncomfortable things that come up for us. Because as women, we often compare ourselves to each other, and there's a lot of jealousy that comes up for one another. And there's so much healing that can happen when you really surround yourself with women who see you and love you and appreciate you and support you in your own personal growth and who you can be your true authentic self with. There's so much power in that. So I just want to hop into the episode. We're all three going to just talk about how we've supported each other, the power of community. And yeah, I think it's going to be a beautiful conversation. So we'll hop in.
Beautiful. And I just want to add quickly, it's important finding and surrounding yourself with women who are not only there for you through the hard times, but who genuinely celebrate your wins, like genuinely.
Mm-hmm. And also, I know like for a lot of people, because I've had clients that have actually like mentioned this to me, where like I know when you're deciding to, finally come home to yourself, it can feel very isolating, and it can feel very like almost disheartening to feel like, oh, there are people out there that understand me. And I just want to remind you, like, there are people and they're waiting for you, because I feel like a lot of the times during this, like whether it's entering spirituality or like wanting to like start your healing journey or coming home back to self, it's very like, it's hard to feel like there's other people that are willing to like listen. Because I know like there's so many people listening right now thinking like, okay, but where do I start? Where are these people? Because nobody in my current life matches that, So I feel like it's also important for us to kind of talk about like how we can open ourselves up to attracting like each other. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
100%. And I just want to add, to go off of that, vulnerability, because I know for me personally, like with friends in the past, I would hide parts of myself that I was ashamed of because I was afraid of judgment. I wanted to be accepted. And, you were talking about healing in community. You need to open yourself up to that as well. And don't be afraid to take the first step and show that vulnerability, because that's where the first cut is the deepest,
Yes, I agree. And also respecting the people that you do have in your current life. And that, like, they may be like, it might, because we all, like, I have gone, and I hate to say this like this, but like I have gone through so many different friend groups in my life. And especially like in the last year, like I have seen how it's been like a full circle, like the people that I started with like even 2 years ago to the people that I surround myself with like today. And obviously like our journeys are going to look different, but respecting the people that are in your life currently, because they're in your life for a reason. And maybe they're just like showing you like where you are at, right? Not maybe, but like they are showing you where you are at right now, and like accepting that, because that is going to help you move into like the next direction.
And I think that's really grounding too, to always go back to the people that are in your life, because again, they're in your life for a reason. Yeah. And they know a version of you. So trusting that the people are in your life, when they come to you and tell you something, like listening to them with open minds as you're going through this journey, opening yourself up to new people, new friends.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like, because I know like being on this path, like you were saying, can be very isolating. And when we feel out of alignment with people, sometimes we're quick to like cut it off. And know that even if people in your life don't fully understand what you're going through, if they genuinely want the best for you, that's really all that that matters, you know?
Yes. Like I have beautiful friends in my life. If you're listening, like, you know who you are. I love you so much. But I've changed so much through coming home to self, through learning my voice, learning who Holly is, my worth. I've changed so much. And I've really even had to grieve a version of myself that really is no longer, she's with me, but that's self-conscious, that not knowing who I am. But that's a version of me who my friends from childhood and college know. But I'm still friends and love those people in my life, even though I am different. There's still that, like, there's still so much love because they were with me in such a vulnerable part of my life. And I have so much love and respect for them. And they helped me become this person who I am today. And even though some things I talk about now, they may not totally resonate with or really understand where I'm coming from, there's that mutual love, mutual respect. And we're here to teach and learn from one another. So keeping those relationships as well, while also growing and attracting in more aligned friendships as well.
Yeah. And talking about sister wounds, you know, I think it's really important to be very honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because I know that, you know, in the past, you were quick to judge, you know, or we're jealous, you know, like, and that's okay. Like, don't be ashamed of that. Like, if you're jealous of a friend or another female or whatever, instead of letting those thoughts win, reflect.
Yeah.
Why is this making me feel uncomfortable?
Yeah. Jealousy is literally seeing something in somebody else and loving it so much, not realizing that that's inside of you. Like it's supposed to spark inspiration. Like there's a reason why you have those feelings coming up, but a lot of the times there's such like a negative context like attached to it. Meanwhile, it's like it's like a seed to grow from. Do you know what I mean? Like it's such a powerful thing.
Yes. And I want to talk about societal pressure.
Yeah.
It's a collective societal thing to pit women against each other. I feel like it's been so normalized to pit women against each other. The jealousy, the body image, the what we look like, the looking at someone else, wanting that for like that jealousy, comparing. And it's become so normalized, but it is possible to have healthy relationships with women. And when you can really come home to self and love who you are, you can then love others and see the beauty in them.
Yes.
But that takes like in community.
Yeah.
Talking, being vulnerable in community.
Absolutely.
And literally what you just said right before we started this episode, because I know the same is true for me. I have learned so much specifically because of you women, specifically you two coming into my life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you two have helped me step into my confidence. And you, like, we've all helped each other.
Yes.
Because we can grow individually to a certain extent, but we need community.
We're not meant to do this alone.
No. Like, I absolutely needed the both of you. And like, I'm remembering like coming back to, everything comes back to unconditional love. And I wouldn't have been able to come to this place like with myself, with my inner child, my teenage self, and now the present version of Nat, if it wasn't for you two giving me that space. And it's like, bringing it back to not even always like having to say the right thing, but just like, even when I randomly was crying yesterday, you both just came and like you put your hands on me. Like, oh, it makes me emotional. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, thank you.
Yeah. And you said too, that's something you would typically do alone.
Yes.
But you don't have to do it alone.
No.
And being witnessed by other people that genuinely love you and sitting there, it's a whole nother level of healing.
Yeah. And going off that, speaking your truth and calling each other out.
Yeah.
Calling each other out.
Honestly, sitting in the uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because it's uncomfortable to call each other out. But it's with love.
Yeah. And
Yes.
it's uncomfortable to be on the receiving end of that, but to listen.
Yes.
to listen and to receive, and instead of react, retaliate, because I know that it can be very uncomfortable on both ends to speak your truth. It can be very uncomfortable to receive. We automatically, the ego steps in, right? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I did that? No, I don't. Da, 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 da. That's where block is.
And sitting in that.
Yes.
And showing unconditional love of, okay, but listening to one another because there's a mutual respect.
Yeah.
When you're really with people that you know love you and respect you, listening with an open ear, is there truth to this? And sitting in that uncomfortable.
Yeah.
While we're all thinking about,
they've called
sitting in that uncomfortable.
Like they called me out, and because I respect them so much, I listened. I'm like, okay, they're teaching me, and
from a place of so much love, literal love.
Yeah.
And you could feel that.
Yes, of course. Yeah. And like, I know with you, it was very uncomfortable to speak your truth. And I'm just like, say it. It's encouraging each other to say what's on your mind too. Like, I don't want there to be any resentment, anything
left out. Yeah.
Yes. And that's where women that are in groups go wrong.
Yeah.
That's where damage can happen, because if there's a resentment, if there's something you want to say and not saying it, then there becomes this tension.
Yes.
This jealousy, this anger, when you can really create safe containers for one another and really know that it's all out of love, all out of respect, and say what you need to say when you need to say it. And there's like this mutual respect. I feel like that's where the sister wound comes in. We're not telling each other when we're feeling a certain way.
Yeah, we're holding back.
We're holding it in.
Absolutely. And it's also like this, damn, like I had it in my mind. It was like at the, it was like right there. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna think
Cut
about
me
it.
after you think about it. But there's this quote. I can't think of it exactly, but it's something along the lines of like, communication or being honest won't mess up what's meant for you.
Exactly.
Like often we're afraid, like we're afraid to, sometimes speaking your truth is difficult. Mm-hmm. And it's like, because you don't want to lose the person, we hold it in. And I know with you guys, like, I feel like I can really speak my truth, which is uncomfortable,
Yes. So for me, I always felt really uncomfortable in a group of women. Like, I always felt uncomfortable in a community of women. And when I really look back, like, I've always attached myself to one person, like in grade school, in high school, in college, I had attached myself to one woman, one of my friends. You know who you are. I have multiple, there's been a couple, but I like attached myself. And there was this deep wound. I feel like even in high school, my boyfriend would cheat on me all the time. And so it was and I knew these girls. So it was like something within me was like, oh, I can't trust other women. And I don't think I realized how deep that was. And then there was a part of me too, because I wasn't fully myself, because I really struggled with anxiety growing up, because I wasn't being my true authentic self. I was cutting off a part of me. I was trying to be normal, fit in. I was thinking with my head and not coming from a place from my heart. So I had a lot of anxiety. So even getting with other women, like, I'd be so anxious because I didn't know who I was. I didn't have self-love for myself. So being with other women, it felt fake to me. And I wasn't being myself. And there was one, I did a plant medicine journey that was in a women's group. And my intention going into it was, please help me feel safe in a community of women. Please help me feel safe in a community of women. And what came through was, no one else can make me feel safe. I have to make myself feel safe. What's coming up for me that I don't feel safe? So I I had to go inward, and I was really breathing and creating safety in my body, creating safety in my nervous system, and seeing my little inner child and being like, you are beautiful. It is safe for you to express yourself. It's safe for you to be with other women. It's safe for you to be yourself and speak your truth and be who you are. It's safe. And when I did that for myself, I got up and I was speaking to all the women and like really being this version of Holly.
Wow.
And really supporting them. It was like so beautiful. I was able to step into my higher self and be there for these women. But that's the thing, you have to create that safety within yourself to feel safe in a community of women.
Yes.
To really come home to self. That's how we found each other, because all of us have been on this self-love journey. And so we attracted each other in. And now we feel like it's safe because we have so much safe. We have met ourselves so deeply that we can have such uncomfortable conversations.
Yes.
And it's beautiful and it's so deep and real. And
it's crazy. It's literally magical.
Yes.
And it's so funny how for you, like I'm listening to your story and that was so beautiful. So thank you for sharing. And it makes me like think back to me, how for me, it was like you were uncomfortable like around women. To me, I was so easy to cut people off. It's like as soon as it got hard, as soon as like emotions started coming up or like what they did, maybe something that upset me, it's like I didn't want to communicate. I didn't want to deal with it hands on. I was just like, I don't need you. Fuck you. Bye. Block. Yeah. Like I was notorious for just detaching completely. And it wasn't until like this last year where I was forced to sit with myself and literally face the skeletons in my closet and meet me so deeply and ask myself, like, why do you run away, Nat? Why do you just cut everyone off, especially when it gets difficult for you? I had to like sit through that. And that's why, like, when I brought up you like just holding me when I'm crying, like that's such a big thing for me, because like I never did that. I was always just like, bye, like I don't need you. And I would like detach myself from the emotion, which blocked me from actually processing losing friendships. Like I'm sure people listening to me that were friends with me, they could be prime examples of that, of me just being like, oh, she blocked me, she's out of my life, like, and I take full accountability.
But that was also protection for you.
It was protection.
That's how you were protecting yourself.
Yes, I absolutely was protecting myself. Yeah.
And it's funny, as you're talking, I'm reflecting on my relationships in the past, and different than you'd run away. I would really dim myself. And I know you were talking about that. Like, I remember I would like block certain people from seeing my stories because I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of, what they would think or being made fun of, because I've been friends with people in the past who would make sly, those like little remarks, those little digs. So instead of having open and honest communication, I wouldn't run away from like the friendship, but I would,
cut it short.
I would cut it. I'd cut me from it.
You weren't being yourself.
Yeah.
You were cutting yourself from like you were dimming your light.
Yeah. And like, I remember, because I never had like and I shouldn't say this, but I was the floater. I was very much so a floater. I did have like later in high school, like the later years, there was like 2 girls in particular that I did become closer with. But even then I was very much so a floater. I never really felt like I truly fit in anywhere. And it's like every group I was in, I was never fully Brittany. It was just like the piece that would make the group comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
100%. I feel like so many of us shapeshift.
Yes.
To fit in, so we don't stick out. So we fit in. Yeah. We all just want to fit in.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all just want to fit in.
Yes.
We all want to be loved and seen and accepted, and we want to fit in.
That's
so
it.
we change ourselves.
Yeah.
To mold to the people that we're with.
Yeah.
And I feel like I love that we're talking about this. This is our first episode. So just talking about the reason behind this podcast, having multiple truths and listening to each other's perspectives. And it's really just, you know, like, again, like not judging. It doesn't need to be the same for each of us.
Yeah. And I want to say too, like really honoring each other's differences, really honoring if we think differently, if we have different perspectives, and there's no one right way of thinking. I think too, we can get so caught up in friend groups of like always everyone thinking one way and agreeing with one another,
Yeah.
but actually being able to think differently. Like it's safe for us to express our true, authentic perspective. And even if it doesn't resonate with you, with either of you, what I say, you both will hear me and respect that. And same with vice versa. It's just really being able to have an open space to share how we truly feel and have more like love and less judgment for one another.
Because, you know, going back to being honest, because judgment is easy. It's easy to judge. And this is where like I feel like honesty, like if you really want to, because I hear a lot of people saying like, I want to manifest like a good group of friends. Like we all want it. But in order to do that, you really need to be honest with yourself. Like if you are judging people, that's telling you something about something within you. And it could be very uncomfortable to be honest with yourself and to be honest with, you know, we're not perfect. That's okay. That's okay. We all have an ego. This is why it's important to call each other out and to listen and to be receptive. But if you want to attract in a true group of people, it starts with you. It's not playing the victim, because I know a lot of people do that. Not saying it's your fault, but it's trying to teach you something.
It's honestly like taking ownership of your life, like take back the ownership of your life and say that you are the creator of your reality. A lot of the times we don't want to own up to that. We don't want to own up to our power. And I understand because of society and because like how we are raised, but it's like, it really comes back to owning your power and owning how like taking that accountability. We don't want to take accountability. And it's, I get it. It's like a form of protection, but the freedom that comes from taking accountability, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, no, like I want to take ownership of my life and I don't like where I'm at right now, but I have to accept it in order to like make the necessary steps to like grow.
Because it's not taught.
No,
It's not taught.
it's not.
So there's
It's
no
not.
shame. There's no shame in it.
Yeah. And there is no shame. Like, I mean, I've done it a million times.
Yeah. And we're also not taught how to communicate. That's another thing. We're not taught how to communicate with one another. So I think being so gentle with yourself in the process, and the more that you come home to yourself, the more comfortable you're going to be in expressing yourself and attracting in people. But really, if you are like what Brittany was saying with the judging, when you are judging, when you are comparing, sitting with yourself, sitting through that uncomfortable and asking yourself, what's coming up for me? Because you're judging someone based off of something that's coming up for you, not because of what that other person is doing. So I think it's like fully becoming so self-aware and so conscious of your thoughts, and being able to like sit with and see these younger parts, because it's more likely than not a younger part that's coming up for you that didn't feel like they could express themselves fully. If you see someone else expressing themselves or speaking their truth, and you don't allow yourself to do that, so you're judging them, it's something coming up within you, not that other person. We need to really start taking accountability and looking within, questioning yourself, getting curious from a place of unconditional love for self. Yeah.
And I was just going to say, same goes for jealousy, you know, because judgment and then jealousy as well. It's like the same thing, but in a different way. So like exactly what Holly was saying, it's having that self-awareness. Like if you're jealous of somebody, okay, what is this? What is this saying about me? Because like I said before, it's having people who are not only there for you through the hard times, but genuinely who can celebrate your wins. But you need to get to that place too, where you can genuinely celebrate their wins. And if you're jealous, you know what I'm saying? So you need to be there first to then attract that in.
Yeah. Because even like with us, there is no way that I could have attracted you both like 2 years ago. Like that version of Nat, when I'm getting chills, like we wouldn't be able to like handle each other. Like it would be a disaster.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah, but we've all come home to self.
Exactly.
We are all so rooted and grounded in who we are and continue to work at that each and every day. We have the tools, we have the awareness. It's still we all are still growing, but we've gotten to this place of so much comfortability and love for ourselves that we can now be here for one another and have the tools to communicate in a healthy way.
Like, I know for me personally, going off of what you're saying is I was talking to them about this the other day, and this, I was talking about this like last night, like that I always had the need to be the best at everything that I did. And that stems from a wounded place, that stems from childhood, but I needed to be the best, you know? And it's like, I'm at a place genuinely where I know how awesome I am. I know my strengths, and I see your strengths. I see your strengths, and your strengths, like I said to you, like there's certain parts of you that I look up to genuinely, you as well. And it's like you have strengths that I'm still working on, and I'm proud of myself for like that need to be the best is not there. Even like our run this morning, me and Holly went on a run this morning, and old Brittany would have needed to be better than Holly. Old Brittany would have, needed to prove myself, needed to keep up. And like she like, and today, like I even said before, I'm like, hey girl, like, like don't feel like like I might hold you back basically. And she went off ahead of me today, and genuinely, and I said to her, like, I told her this after, I was like, genuinely, I was like, she's a runner, she's a track star. Like like it's so minor.
But you know what? For me, old me would have been so anxious. Oh my God, what is she going to think of me? Does she think I'm trying? Is she going to like me because I'm doing this better? Like old me would have been so in my head about worrying about what you were thinking that I had left you, that I just kept going. But like there's such a mutual, we're learning from each other, and we're a reflection of our own growth. Yeah. Yes, I really feel that. And even too, like your wound, Brittany, was needing to be the best. Like mine was, I couldn't speak up for myself. I had so much anxiety, I couldn't speak. So like speak up for what I really was feeling. But even through this, like I've learned how to do that with you guys. Like I've learned how to speak what I'm genuinely feeling.
Woo!
And it feels safe.
Yes.
Like I've learned how to say what I need to say, what I genuinely feel, and feel safe doing it, because I know it's coming from my heart, from my like, it's coming from a genuine place.
Yes.
So it's like I'm strengthening the muscle of using my voice, taking up space, because younger Holly was scared to take up space, was scared to use her voice. And this is even like doing a podcast, even with you guys, it's supporting me and continuing to take up space and find my voice and share my voice. So it's like all of our wounds were like,
brought up to the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you had similar.
I was literally just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to this day, I really struggle with being like center of attention or taking up like space. I just like, I get uncomfortable. I'm like, no, because I've always told myself like I'm the stepping stone to other people's journey. You know what I mean? But like you sitting with me the other day and like just telling me like, oh, this is for you. Like I want to be a container for you. Like, it's so powerful. And again, like learning to speak up and go through like these uncomfortable emotions and talking them out loud. Like even when was it? We had like the full moon on Saturday, and I was getting so triggered and like
Same. We were all so triggered.
Like just me sitting here, I was like, oh my God. Like,
and we had really uncomfortable conversations, and we literally sat here, sat through it.
Yeah, no, but it was like, I'm so like grateful that I was able to say exactly what was on my mind, no matter how fucking crazy it was. Cause I was like, I want to get the fuck out. I want to go home. You know what I mean? But being able to like say that and then like just come like and sit through those uncomfortable emotions together. Like, that's huge.
And it strengthens.
Exactly.
Strengthens the bond, strengthens our muscles.
Exactly.
Of saying what we need to say
Yeah.
and working through them.
Yes.
Moving through the uncomfortable, healthy communication.
Yes, exactly.
And I want to go off what the two of you are saying, you know, like I was saying before, like my need to be the best, but you're talking about learning how to speak up. Like for me, my wound stems from being cut off. So for me, it's learning to listen. Honey, it's safe to listen. You will be heard. You will get your turn. You know, so it's kind of the opposite, because the only way I was heard in the past was, you know, cutting. I had to. So it's being on, it's that, like that feeling will come up in me when I want to say something, and it's like, listen. So that's,
Because it's a younger part of you
Yes.
being triggered, speaking to her. Yes, that's what inner child, yes. I love that for you.
I love that for you.
I want to say, like, for you specifically, Britt, like, I'm so proud of you for like your ability to just like, it's making me emotional, but your ability to be like, no, I want to listen to this no matter how uncomfortable it is. Like, I honor you for that. Like, that takes so much strength. And like the fact that you're like, no, I'm going to take it. Like, I'm here and I want to listen. Like, I really commend you for that. Like, I really truly respect that so deeply in you. Like, you have, and I just really wanted to tell you that. Like, I really, girl, like, I'm so fucking proud of you.
You're gonna
Like,
make me cry.
Genuinely.
Because it's hard to hear the truth
Yes.
and really sit with it and listen.
Yeah.
It's really hard to hear hard things about yourself and really take it in.
Yeah.
And really evaluate. That takes a lot of self-reflection
Yes.
and courage and strength.
Yeah.
It's huge. And a lot of people, when people say things to them, they take it personally and get offended and cut them off.
Exactly.
Or talk shit behind their back. And it's like, but that's perpetuating these things.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah.
Like, you choose
Yeah.
to face them. And
Huge.
Huge.
Thank you. Like, thank you for saying that. And it's like, it's because I value and respect, you know, you guys so much. And I feel the same about you guys. You know what I mean? Like, you guys should be so proud of yourself. Like, speaking up, like, I know how hard specifically that was for you. Like, that's huge
For me,
Yeah.
Holly.
you know?
Yeah.
And you not running away, you know?
I wanted to.
Wow.
Wow.
That's like hitting me.
It's hitting. And I know. And I actually wanted to bring it back to you now. And like you talking, like, you are helping and healing me so much too. And like, even sitting and like listening to you, like, work through it. Like, even when your body's like communicating with you and like how uncomfortable, like we were shaking too.
Yeah, my whole entire body, when I was about to say something to Brittany, my whole entire body started shaking. And my body was like, say it.
Yeah.
Holly, say it.
And I was like, and I even said, I was like, I could see it in her and I want to hear you. And I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Say it.
It was just having the courage, because I knew how much love I have for Brittany, how much love I have for Natalia. Like, I knew how much love, and I know by me sharing what I genuinely feel, it's helping her grow. It helps you grow. And it was coming from, it's all vice versa. Yeah, we're helping each other grow by really sitting in the uncomfortable, sharing how we genuinely feel. It's helping us grow. Yeah.
And our relationship truly has only gotten stronger as a result. I have more respect. Like, give me the honesty, trigger me, baby. Like, I have more respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a result, and it's being vulnerable. It's being vulnerable, and it's not hiding those pieces, because that's where true friendship, relationships can form, through the good, bad, and the ugly. Unconditional love.
Yes. And I want to say, like, for me, like, with the both of you, I have never, like, you know how you grow up saying like, oh, I want to be friends forever, you know, like pistols, like PFFs, you know, like I was always like the kind of person that it was like I didn't care. Oh, it's fine, you know. But with you guys, like I don't ever want it, and like I value this friendship so much. Like, no, I'm gonna do everything to make it work, to stay, to choose not to run, to like choose to grow. Like, oh, it's so big. It's like really registering in my mind right now. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
It's worth fighting for. You two are worth fighting for.
This type of friendship, women coming together in community, like it's worth fighting for. It's worth the uncomfortable conversations. It's worth it. And we're just an example. Like we're just giving you examples because like this has been so healing for all of us. And it's like this is what we need to do together as women. Come together, be able to talk to each other, share what's coming up, be authentic, be real, be raw. Show it all. It's all welcome. It's all welcome.
Exactly. And also like knowing that, yes, friendships are worth it. Like we are, like you guys are worth it, but it's because I chose to see that I'm worth it. You know, like it all stems from like, you are worth it. Whoever's listening, like you are worth it, you know, and like really allowing yourself to like come out of your shell, take off these masks and be your authentic self to attract beautiful women like you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to say too, it's like there's so much there's so much anxiety and depression. And it's because we're so separated and isolated from others, but from ourselves. First ourselves. So it's like when you can really start to take off these masks that you've been wearing to the outside world to get approval, to be normal, to fit societal norms, when you can start to strip those away, come home to self, you'll then attract in the community. And like, that's how you end depression and anxiety. But it takes that inner work, that really like inner child, inner teenager, inner work, not healing, self-love, to get to the root of anxiety, the masks, because you said wearing masks and it made me really think of that. It's like, that's the root of these mental illnesses. Yeah.
It's choosing everything else other than yourself.
Yeah.
And again, I just want to emphasize like there's no shame in it because it's again going back to the honesty, because if you're not, you know, if your friend comes to you and you're just defensive about something or whatever it may be, there's no growth there. But it's because, you know, if someone comes to you and says something and it's quote unquote negative, this is why I don't like labels, but it's a negative trait or whatever, we don't want to associate ourselves with that negative trait. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It does not mean you're a bad person. You know, it's like we all have wounds. Healing is a forever journey. And it's accepting the ego. It's accepting the dark and say, okay, there is this shadow side to me. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean I don't love my friends. It doesn't mean any of those things, but it's removing, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, we don't want to associate ourselves with the negative, like, oh, this person is so this, is so that. And it's like, we don't want to associate ourselves with that. And it's like, it's okay. Like it's okay.
Yes. Yeah. Like these, I guess like how society labels like these toxic traits or these toxic characteristics. Like it's either like really good or really bad. And it's like, but it's not about that. Like that's such a division, you know, like, cause we're here having this human experience and that like, it literally requires us to experience every single fucking emotion. To be like extremely angry, to have like those dark aspects to ourselves because we go through so much pain. So
yeah. And I just want to touch on too, I feel like, so we've been hosting women's circles where we really come together, women coming together, sharing, being vulnerable with one another, sharing what's coming up for us, any shame, anything that there's like shame or guilt around, and just getting loving support, just because there's so much power in being witnessed, sharing your vulnerability, sharing your shame, because shame dies when it's told in safe spaces. And that's what we've really created, is like sacred safe spaces for women to come together. And there's so much power in that, because shame and jealousy and comparison and all of that, it lives on when it's not given awareness and it's not given a safe space to really be spoken about. So really, I just want to really emphasize when you can really share your secrets and really release some even fear around being with other women, even admitting that in a women's circle and being witnessed and held by other women, because so many women have this wound. So many women have this sister wound. So it's like being able to really come together in community, share what's coming up for you, be seen, be loved, be heard, really seeing and hearing one another. There's so much power in that. So we're really passionate about the circles we've been creating. They've been so healing. Do you guys have anything you want to say?
I just wanted to add, just going off what you said about the women's circles, one thing I've noticed is the amount of women that have said, I'm surprised at how similar your stories are, because there's so much shame. We don't talk about it. We hold it in, or we think we're alone. We're not alone.
No. Yeah. And I feel like also allowing yourself to get, like, I know this is going to sound crazy, like emotionally naked in front of people, like, you know, and especially like other women. And like, I have noticed that too, with people saying like, oh my God, it's crazy. I also like hosted a healing circle, my first one in person. And it was insane to see how like each and every one of the women that were there were able to share a piece of their stories. And everyone was just like nodding their heads like, oh my God, like, I can't believe like you experienced something so similar.
Yeah, we all experience similar things, but we keep it a secret and we feel so alone.
And
Yeah.
we don't need to be strong, because I feel like too, there's a part of us that we feel like by being vulnerable, we're going to be looked at different, you know, we're going to be judged. So we don't want to open up those sides of us. But when we do, it's like, oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah. And that's how you feel seen and heard. And like, that's how you get the support. It's like, that's the healing. There's so much power in being witnessed and knowing you're not alone, because you're not alone. None of us are alone. We're not alone.
And one thing I want to add is, with this podcast, it's basically what this is all about. We're going to be taking just a little bit about what it's going to look like. We're going to have us three doing these episodes together, and we're going to talk about your write-ins. We're taking write-ins. So we're going to have our email in the description below. Please write in your stories, like if you're seeking advice or whatever it may be, questions. Like, we're going to give you our multiple truths. We're going to be honest. We're going to talk about it. And we're also going to we're going to host our individual episodes. So you're going to get multiple truths. And I know I know you'll do your solo episode with a guest. You might bring a guest. I might bring a guest. So we're going to be bringing people on. We're going to have I think one individual episode a month, one group episode a month.
Yes. And it's just going to be adding layers on top of layers, really allowing that, like, us to open up our minds up even more, because like even during like these healing journeys that we are on, we can close our minds up like a lot of the times, and it's like we stunt our own growth. And I feel like by creating this space where we can really open that, it's like an onion, like opening up more layers and like opening up this space, it's going to attract like so much more wisdom and truth to come out. Because like, as we learn together, like there's layers to wisdom, there's layers to truth, and really allowing ourselves to open our minds and hearts up to it is so important for each and every one of us, you know?
And we're going to be as real and raw and vulnerable as we possibly can, so you can really see us and see yourselves within us and really heal with us. This is going to be just as healing for us as it is for us bringing out these messages out into you guys. And we really want you to feel a part of this community. Like, really, we're all in this together. We're all in this together.
We're all in this together. Yeah. I know the dance too. It's like,
oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Aw. Well, we're so excited for this. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yeah. And yeah, I just want to say to, I don't know. I just want to say, like, if you're listening to this and you feel really alone, I just want you to know you're not alone. And we love you and we see you and you are enough. And yeah, you're not alone. Yeah. I just want to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just really excited. I'm excited to be doing this with you two. And I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Open discourse, please, in the comments. We're in this together.